महसूस किया है जितना कि आज मैंने महसूस किया और सभी भारत यात्रियों ने महसूस किया। पर हमारे लिए तसल्ली हुई कि जनता ने जो हमारा स्वागत राहुल जी का, भारत जोड़ो यात्रा का, भारत यात्रियों का, हम गड्ढे को भूल गए, खतरे को भूल गए और हम चलते रहे 14 किलोमीटर करीब आज सुबह हम चले हैं और दोपहर को 9 किलोमीटर हम चलेंगे। रोज हम औसत के तौर से 23-24 किलोमीटर चलते हैं। तो मैं हुड्डा जी से, बाद में पीसीसी अध्यक्ष से और बाद में शक्ति सिंह गोयल जी से गुजारिश करूंगा आपको हरियाणा के बारे में विस्तार से जानकारी दें। पर मैं कहूंगा कि भारत जोड़ो यात्रा के पीछे 3 मकसद थे। जब ये शुरुआत हुई थी कन्याकुमारी में 2023 या 2024 के चुनाव से भारत जोड़ो यात्रा का कोई लेना देना नहीं है। ये चुनाव जीतो यात्रा नहीं है, ये चुनाव जिताओ यात्रा भी नहीं है। यात्रा उदयपुर संकल्प, जो उदयपुर चिंतन शिविर में उसके बाद सोनिया जी ने इसकी घोषणा की थी 15 मई को कि भारत जोड़ो यात्रा कन्याकुमारी से कश्मीर तक निकाला जाएगा और उन्होंने ये भी संकेत दिया कि क्यों।
Okay, let's go back to my colleague Pallavi right now to understand more about Sonia Gandhi's approach. A strong attack that we're seeing from Sonia Gandhi. Perhaps, as my colleague Pallavi was saying, the strongest words we've seen so far from the Congress leader about the BJP's handling of what took place in Tawang. We'll try to reconnect with her in just a second to understand more of her perspective on what the Congress's strategy is going to be over the next 2 days. Remember, right since the winter session of the Parliament started, and particularly over the last week, we've watched the Congress and a number of other opposition parties unite in their opposition of the centre's handling of what took place in Tawang. They've questioned the centre on multiple fronts. The biggest has been the amount of information that's been released by the centre. You'll remember last week, early in the week, you had the Defence Minister Rajnath Singh make the exact same address, word for word, in both the Rajya Sabha and the Lok Sabha about what had taken place in Tawang. Now, his address was severely criticized by members of the opposition. You had senior leaders like P. Chidambaram argue that because both the addresses given by Rajnath in the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha were exactly the same, they released no new information. In fact, P. Chidambaram had made the jibe that the morning newspapers had in fact told him more than the Defence Minister had in his address. Let's go very quickly over to my colleague Pallavi right now to understand more. Pallavi, seeing what we are right now in terms of the Congress protest, can we expect further, stronger words within the next few days from Sonia Gandhi and a number of other senior leaders on the same matter?
Well, I think it's very, very clear now that the Congress party has decided to completely put pressure on the government on the China issue. Rahul Gandhi has entered Haryana, so he's going to be there for the next 3 days. Of course, there's going to be a mandatory press conference which is going to take place. And on 24th, he enters Delhi. And 23rd is the last day of the Parliament. So I think that pressure will just mount. I mean, not Sonia Gandhi clearly taking the lead. The Congress president, of course, taking the lead. And now, of course, Rahul Gandhi and all of them. The session may be over on 23rd, Toya, but I still think the Congress party will keep on throwing it back at the government, which is pretty much using the words which she used at the CPP meeting, that this government has made it a habit and a norm on not to debate and discuss, not to keep the people of the country and political parties in the loop, and also destroying all the institutions.
Okay, Pallavi, I want to take to you now a question that we've pondered about over here over the last few minutes too. When you're hearing the BJP say, look, the Congress did the same thing when they were in power, A, how accurate is that historically speaking? And B, have we had any Congress responses on that argument?
Well, I mean, the Congress said that it can't be just reduced to whataboutery. We always have allowed a debate and discussion. I remember I covered the UPA Times also in Parliament, and when the 2G scam first broke out, there was massive hangama. In fact, one entire session was completely wiped out, And in that session, no work obviously carried on. And the demand which was coming in from the opposition then, which was the BJP, was simply that let's have a joint parliamentary committee set up to probe the 2G scam. They wanted the Prime Minister, Dr. Manmohan Singh, to issue a statement on the floor of the House. That didn't happen. So I think that's what the BJP is referring to, that when you did it in your time, then it was considered to be fine and respecting the institutions. Why do you expect different yardstick from us now?
And Pallavi, have we had any Congress response on this aspect when the BJP says that?
No, that's what I said. I mean, the Congress party says that why are we reducing it into a whataboutery?
Sure.
There are two different issues. We always allowed the debate and discussion eventually to take place. Dr. Manmohan Singh would address the media. He would speak out more. But we have the Prime Minister who refuses to hold any press conferences or even come to our house and allow a debate and discussion on this.
Okay, and Pallavi, one more question for you here. When it comes to the way in which parties, apart from the Congress and the BJP, are aligning, I just want to ask you, are there any particularly interesting alignments? Particularly in the South, sometimes you see parties switch over when it comes to important national issues. Are there any interesting alignments this time?
Yeah, but Toya, there are two different things. Now, on the China issue, we have seen a semblance of opposition unity. We have seen, for example, the Trinamool Congress, SP, RJD, even Aam Aadmi Party, I remember, attended one all-party meeting together. The southern parties, in terms of allies of the Congress, like the DMK, have always been there.
Of
A
course.
YSR Congress or a KCR's party, the BRS, have always now maintained a distance from both the sides, not just the Congress, but even from the BJP. So that is one point we have certainly seen. But if you're going to ask me for a quick wrap on how does opposition unity look like, well, at least on the China issue, we saw a semblance of opposition unity during the winter session of Parliament.
Okay. And have we seen any parties stay away from this issue altogether in the Parliament?
Well, I mean, as I said, I mean, the YSR Congress, KCR's party, the BRS, both of them have stayed away largely from any kind of debate or discussion or a demand also. But they've also maintained equidistant, I would say, not just from the Congress, but also from the BJP.
Okay. And when it comes to how the Defence Ministry or how the BJP itself is handling this Tawang discussion, do we expect them to make no further statements, not just within the next 2 days of Parliament, but within the next few weeks?
I mean, it certainly seems highly unlikely, Toya, because the grounds which the government has taken and the chair has taken is that whatever had to be said and could be shared was done by the defense minister. These are national security issues. We cannot allow national security issues to be debated and discussed because there's sensitive information which political parties may be asking for, which is difficult to divulge. We saw a counter to that of sorts coming from Sonia Gandhi, saying that at least you have to give elected representatives that kind of a respect where you share some information with them. Either it's done on the floor of the House or either it's done by way of an all-party meeting.
Okay, and I just want to ask you, Pallavi, a few minutes ago we shared with our audiences what the Union Health Minister had to say about the Congress Bharat Yatra. Just like the Congress is making this current issue, the issue of Tawang, an issue that their senior leadership like Sonia Gandhi is handling, can we at all see the Bharat Yatra also addressed like that by Sonia Gandhi, or will it not be addressed in a similar manner, do you think?
Could you repeat your question?
Yes, I'm asking specifically, Pallavi, about how the health minister just instructed that the Bharat Yatra needs to follow COVID guidelines. Can we expect Sonia Gandhi to also have a response on that, or are they going to remain focused right here in Delhi?
No, just to keep the record straight, Toya, Sonia Gandhi spoke at the Congress Parliamentary Party meeting inside. She's a member and the chairperson of the Congress Parliamentary Party. No reactions are randomly expected from Sonia Gandhi because she does not even address the media outside. But if you're going to ask me about COVID, Jairam Ramesh's press conference is going on. Maybe there's a possibility of a response coming in from them. Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary, of course, has already responded by saying that during the elections, you did not have the Prime Minister wearing a mask. We've already put out pictures of the Bharat Jodo Yatra at the Haryana leg, and you can see the kind of crowd over there. Is it really possible for COVID protocol to be followed? And second thing is, will this COVID protocol, if it comes out later in the day from the health officials, cast a shadow over the numbers of the Bharat Jodo Yatra?
Okay, thank you, Pallavi, for highlighting both those aspects. All right.